Well, one of these weeks I'm going to have good news and just the best news where the Confederates surrender, we bring this country back together, but it's not this week. Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is Prospector Johnny. And as I alluded to in the intro, Johnny, this isn't a great week for the Union.
It's another bad week.
Yeah, there's a battle lost. There's Lincoln going crazy. Yeah.
Did we lose ground on the battle? Or was it one of those where we lost a battle but nothing happened?
We lost a battle, but nothing happens. And in the grand scheme of things, it really wasn't. It's just an embarrassing loss. It wasn't a big battle, but it was just an embarrassing loss. But we'll get into it. Let's go in order here. This week is going to open up on the 18th, Johnny, with a cabinet meeting to discuss General Scott's possible retirement. If you remember, General Scott,
yes.
the developer of the Anaconda Plan, our supreme overall commander of the Union forces as of right now. He is a dinosaur. Yeah, he's old and he's a bit overweight. And he's not getting on any horses anytime soon to actually lead anything from the field. He's a bureaucrat.
He's an idea man now.
Yeah,
he put in his time. He did his thing, and now he can sit back and
he's definitely
tell other people what to do.
Yeah, he's definitely an advisor to Lincoln more than anything else, and I think he's done. I think he's like, all right, listen, I don't want my name on this if it goes south any more than it already has.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty embarrassing. I mean, I feel like it's working, like his plan's working, but everything
it's just
that's going on is not coming up Union.
Yeah,
it's been pretty embarrassing aside from some pirate ships we've sank.
Yeah, his blockade is working. We are starting to starve them out, but it's going to take a lot longer than I think he anticipated, and our ground battles aren't.
Not good.
Yeah, not going the way we wanted them to, except in Western Virginia. Western Virginia, we got that locked down, but everywhere else is kind of. Also on the 18th, there are two hired generals of McClellan and Sherman who are fighting with each other. Sherman wants more troops for the Southern Coastal Expedition, so he's wanting troops so that he can actually go, like we talked about last week, talking about going in through South Carolina. He wants some more troops to be able to do that effectively, and McClellan's like, no, you can't have any of my troops. Even though McClellan's not actually doing anything.
They're just sitting around.
With those
I'm sure the
troops
would love to go and actually do something.
Yeah.
Other than, I'm guessing they're marching around the camp and playing little games.
Drill and just trying not to be bored, I guess. Yeah. Continued skirmishes are going to happen in the Kanawha Valley, that's Western Virginia, on the 19th, with no decisive battles or outcomes. Just, some more pop shots at each other.
Nothing happening. Yeah. Bored soldier. And that's why go ahead and.
Yeah, just bored soldiers.
Let's concentrate them and make them less bored and do something.
I mean, right? USS Massachusetts and the CSS Florida are going to exchange gunfire on the Mississippi near Ship Island. Also inclusive, just shooting at each other with
nothing.
No substantial casualties. No
bouncing cannonballs off the sides of ships.
Yeah, bouncing cannonballs off the sides of ships.
In front of it,
poor fish. A couple fish probably died at least of lead poisoning.
I would imagine.
Yeah, at least of lead poisoning. McClellan is finally, Johnny. He's finally going to do something with his troops. He's going to order a major reconnaissance mission on the 19th, resulting in General McCall occupying the city of Drainesville, Virginia, which is near an important river crossing in Leesburg. So we're starting to set up some reconnaissance in Virginia.
Okay. Is this sending people into bars and listening for stuff, or are we using women spies?
No, I mean we're actually we're sending soldiers in in skirmishing lines to actually, but
so it's not
trying
like
to fill
a
out
secretive one.
No,
that would be more fun.
That would have been more fun. No, he's not going secretive. On the 20th, McClellan, wanting to push on Leesburg, is going to send the following order to General Stone, and I quote, "Perhaps a slight demonstration on your part would have the effect to move them on." Move them on being the Confederates, move them out of their positions there in Leesburg.
So do something and maybe
do something and maybe they'll move.
And maybe they'll get out of there.
Maybe they'll get out of there. So Stone is going to move his troops by ferry into the area and then immediately withdraw them when in the evening the Confederates didn't come out to fight. They didn't come out to play. So he's like, all right, well, we'll just go back.
They just
Yeah, he
stayed in.
He rode across the river. And was like, "Hey guys, you want to come out and play some baseball?" And they're like, "No, we're good." All right, I guess I'll take my ball and go home. Which is essentially what happens there. And Johnny, this is now where we get into the battle that I was alluding to at the beginning of it. We get finally some action with the Battle of Balls Bluff, which is going to kick off on the early morning of the 21st, resulting in a horrible, horrible disaster for the Union.
Oh
no! So early, yeah.
What happened with it?
Well, early in the morning on the 21st, Well, so early on the morning of the 21st, Stone is going to send another reconnaissance group across the river by ferry to start, scouting the Potomac, specifically around Leesburg. This was supposed to be a minor movement to see if the Confederates were, in fact, occupying the city of Leesburg. So this wasn't supposed to be a battle. It was just supposed to be, hey, cross the river, poke around a little bit, see maybe if you can capture a rebel or two and get some intel and bring it back. That's what's supposed to happen.
Okay. Sounds like a okay plan, I guess.
Not a bad plan. Unless an inexperienced Captain Chase Philbrick saw a line of trees around Ball's Bluff and mistook them for a Confederate camp. He didn't bother actually getting closer to confirm this or send anybody closer to confirm it. He just goes, "Oh, those trees look like Confederate tents."
What?
The dude had to be smoking something or drinking way too much.
I mean, he probably hadn't gotten his eye correction going on like that. Maybe he just was legally blind.
Yeah,
because how would just a bunch of trees look like tents?
I have no idea, but that's what is reported. Is he thinks that there is a Confederate camp there, which is just apparently a field of trees. Stone then goes back to Stone and reports this to Stone. Stone then orders 300 men to cross the river to go investigate that camp.
Yeah, check out the camp. Yeah, the camp.
Once he realized the mistake, he's going to send a Colonel Edward Baker, who is an acting senator, who's actually a sitting senator, elected senator from Oregon, and a personal friend of Lincoln. And he's a senator in arms, commanding troops in the field.
Good for him.
So good for him. Yeah, good for him. Although, save those praise for a little bit because it's not going to end well for him. Not going to end well for him. So he's going to be sent to evaluate the situation. Stone orders him, says, "Hey, listen, investigate. Either withdraw the troops or continue the raiding party, depending on what you find. Like, I'm going to leave it up to you. If the numbers are small enough where you can do a raiding party attack, get some supplies, get some prisoners, by all means do that. But if it's an actual sizable force, like get the men, get those 300 men, get the hell out, and come back.
Bye. Yeah."
Baker's
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
And basically. Baker's going to bite off more than he's going to be able to chew, and he's going to continue the raid. And by doing this, he's going to bring ferrying more and more troops over across the river. But he doesn't have the boats, and the boats that he does have aren't really proper for packing a bunch of men in to ferry across a river. I mean, the Potomac's not small. To ferry across the Potomac on a rapid succession, and there's like a waterway traffic jam, so he's trying to get as much of his army across the river as he can, but it's not going very quickly.
And so they're just slowly going back and forth on little boats or whatever they have.
Yep, he's going to wind up actually engaging in a battle around Ball's Bluff. And by the way, when all this started to kick off, Stone wasn't aware that McCall's division that had taken the city prior, or the city next door prior, they'd already been withdrawn back to Washington for further orders. So he has no reinforcements in this area at all. It's just little him out there on his own with about 1,700 men.
Trying to get him across the river.
Devens, who was in an advanced position with, basically when Stone set this up, he sent some men south, some men north on the river, upstream, downstream, however that works, whatever the river direction is pointed. Some upstream, some downstream. Mm-hmm. Devon, who was downstream, winds up withdrawing his troops to Ball's Bluff, and is like, hey, battle, we probably should just go ahead and duck out of here, get back on these boats.
Not engage.
Maybe not engage, turn around. He's going to try to withdraw his forces back to Ball's Bluff. This happens about 2 p.m. after heavy skirmishing. He's going to meet Baker, who is still trying to cross his troops at the bottleneck there.
At 2 o'clock
in the afternoon. The heaviest battle begins around Ball's Bluff at 3 p.m., and it's going to continue until about nightfall. Around 4:30 p.m., so about an hour and a half into the heaviest fighting, Baker is going to be shot and killed.
Oh,
so we have an active senator who, spoiler alert, up to now when you're watching this, he is the only active senator who's ever been shot and killed in combat. Which I guess makes sense because why would we have a senator in combat? But
it seems a little bit
the
nonsensical.
Civil War,
but
the Civil War is an odd place.
People want to fight, and they're gonna go and fight, and that's what he did, and he died to protect what he believed in. So good. I mean, good for him. I guess.
Good for him. But you
sorry to his family. Condolences. All that.
The Union's going to begin to attempt to withdraw all of its troops across the river, which there was already that bottleneck, and there's not enough boats, and we're already having the problems that we've foreseen. And those boats begin to capsize, Johnny, in the river
because they
swell.
tried putting too many people.
And then now you got soldiers in the water with all their equipment that are drowning, literally drowning.
Yeah.
You have some troops.
Yeah, because how much weight would a normal soldier? I mean, just their uniforms alone getting saturated
without their field pack, you're looking at least 40 to 60 pounds of equipment. The gun,
dry
the ammunition. This is about 10 pounds worth of weight just here in your ammunition. Let alone everything else that you're carrying: the gun, your haversack, your canteen.
What a nightmare!
You're definitely going to have about 40 to 60 pounds of equipment. That's not even including your backpack. So
and then
you have soldiers
wool
that
clothes,
heavy
cotton clothes, and whatever that are getting soaked in.
You have some troops that are desperately trying to swim across the river to get away, and you have Confederates that are on the shoreline so ethically shooting our guys
fish
in the water.
In a barrel. Yeah. Well, I mean,
we would have done the same thing.
Nobody's accused the South of being good people.
I would have done the same thing too. I mean, whatever.
If
they
as evidenced by us slashing them down when they were retreating from
a week ago. Yeah, we will ignore that. We'll ignore that one.
Yeah. So no, only what they did was bad. Shouldn't have done it. War crime.
Both sides had approximately about 1,700 men each, so similar engaged troops. But the federal forces here, Union forces, are going to lose 223 killed, 226 wounded, and 553 were either captured or are missing on the banks of the Potomac.
Bottom of the Potomac.
Or the bottom of the Potomac, yeah. The Confederate side, they're going to lose 36 killed, 117 wounded, and 2 captured. So, wow, that was one-sided.
That's a nasty battle.
Yeah, and we lose a senator. Baker, he's going to be treated as a martyr during this whole thing, and Congress claims that there must have been a conspiracy because all these generals and all these battles have losses for the Union, so these Union generals that we put in charge clearly have to be in cahoots with the South, and so we have to investigate this.
They're so bad. They're doing so bad. They're like, well,
their only explanation is that
they're trying to lose.
Yeah. And so they form the Congress out of a result of this battle is going to form the Joint Committee of the Conduct of War, which is a committee that literally all they do is look at the generals and go, why are you a general? Should you be a general? And are you a traitor?
Okay.
Yeah. So not necessarily bad, but just bear with me here. On the 22nd, Lincoln's cabinet is going to meet to discuss the tragedy at Bluff, Fremont, and the fact that the Confederate batteries control the major points of the Potomac. So we've got 3 things going on right now on the 22nd. We lost Bluff, including a senator. Fremont is an asshole out in the west, not doing very well, and the Confederate batteries pretty much control the Potomac below Alexandria. So we got to figure out what to do there. As a result of Bluff, Stone is going to be arrested and charged with treason. Well, let me rephrase that. He's just going to be arrested. Habeas corpus is gone.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can just go ahead and lock him up.
The charges, or the alluded charges, are being a spy and conspiracy to be a Southerner, because the battle was completely his fault, even though it absolutely wasn't. It was really Baker's fault. Baker was the one who's like, we'll continue this fight, even though we shouldn't have.
And
Stone said, hey, don't
do
that if it's gonna look like it's gonna be bad. Like, we're just here to get some supplies and some men and scout the position. Right. We're not here to engage in a battle.
And now he's been arrested and is going to be tried for treason. Or maybe just
tried
nothing.
No
I
trial.
I forgot that this is now the dictatorship of the United States of America.
Yeah, we'll see what happens to him down the road. Good news in this day, at least, is that Western Virginia is secure and locked down, with reports that Lee will most likely have to set up his winter quarters and cease any attempt to take action into Western Virginia, at least until the spring. So at least we have half the state of Virginia controlled. So, I mean, yay.
Better than nothing, I guess.
Better than nothing, yeah. I mean, maybe we should put those guys in charge. Like, they're doing a good job. Why do we keep putting these assholes in charge of the more eastern part of Virginia? Anyways, on the 23rd, Johnny, some skirmishing in Kentucky around West Liberty and Hogdenville near Lincoln's birth home. And a lot of skirmishing is actually done by pro-Union citizens in Kentucky against Confederate occupied area.
So they're raising up arms against the Confederate occupiers.
This isn't necessarily.
So go ahead, go ahead and claim that you're with us.
Yeah,
Kentucky.
They're
I mean, Avi,
Yeah, right now, because really, what it's going on, it's not soldiers that are fighting. It's mostly just civilians that are like, I don't like the rebels here. Can you please leave?
Yeah, and if not, I'm gonna go ahead and take my hunting rifle and start shooting at you.
And Johnny, this awful week finally comes to an end with 3 pieces of actual good news, though. We do have 3 pieces of good news here to end the week on the 23rd.
All right, lay it on me.
24th, I mean. So first, Western Union has completed the first transcontinental telegraph line through the United States, so we can now instantaneously talk with California if we want. Even through our territories, we have telegraph line set from East Coast all the way to the West Coast. Telegraph line is intact, and we can have.
I mean, how on earth do they do that? That's
instant
amazing.
communication. Yep, instant communication, Johnny. So long as the wind doesn't blow the lines down, buffaloes don't knock the lines down, or Indians don't cut them. So as long as those 3 things don't happen, which is highly unlikely, we have.
I mean, why would the natives want anything to do with those
instantaneous contact with California? Citizens in Western Virginia, the Kanawha Valley, unanimously vote in favor of seceding from Virginia and forming their own state at the Wheeling Convention to join the Union. Yes, half of Virginia, the western counties of Virginia.
So are they doing it?
Yes, they have unanimously voted.
So it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
What are they going to call it?
I don't know. It's going to take time, Johnny. This is the first vote. They said, yes,
we
want to secede from Virginia and form our own state and join the Union. So we'll see how this all... And, of course, I think that the Union has to accept them, and they're like 2/3 states, and I'm not sure how all that's going to work out. And there is...
I feel like at this point, take what we can get.
There is this part of the Constitution says we can't form a state from an already existing state, but I think we're going to ignore that because that already existing state's rebelled. So.
I am pretty sure that already existing state decided they were no longer a state.
So yeah,
they can piss off.
And the final piece of good news, Johnny, here is it's a long time coming. Super long time coming. Lincoln is going to send Brigadier General S.R. Curtis with a sealed order to Missouri to be delivered to General Fremont personally. And that is, of course, assuming that General Fremont is not actively engaged in a current battle, not about to be actively engaged in a current battle, or has not won a battle in the time it takes for Curtis to get from D.C. to Missouri, which is going to take a couple of days.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
But if those 3 things don't happen, the orders are to be delivered, and those orders state that Fremont is to be relieved and replaced by Major General Hunter. So finally, maybe we'll get some progress in Missouri, getting rid of this stupid, idiotic buffoon who just... Like, we had Missouri locked down, and he lost us the southwestern part of that state just from buffoonery. So we'll see how that plays out in the next couple of weeks. We'll see if Stone winds up ever being released, and hopefully we can recoup from this stupid Bluff fiasco. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you like this type of history with 2 drunk dudes rambling, check out Historic Hindsight, where we talk about the U.S. government stealing your gold and the Microsoft Zune, whatever the hell that was.